Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Emmerdale's Will Ash warns Caleb's feud with Joe could turn deadly in huge spoiler. Tensions are running high for Caleb Milligan as he remains unaware of the dark truth behind his recent kidney transplant. But his feud with Joe Tate is set for a deadly turn. Emmerdale star Will Ash teases explosive confrontations ahead as Caleb grows increasingly suspicious of Joe Tate, Ned Porteous. Though he remains oblivious to the sinister betrayal he has suffered. If Caleb knew the truth, he'd want to kill Joe. Will says he's quite calculated, but he would fly off the handle. Caleb was recently rushed to hospital after being found bleeding from a stab wound and missing a kidney. Caleb currently believes he was attacked by an unknown assailant before Joe discovered him and arranged for private medical care, ultimately saving his life. In reality, Joe has been desperate for a kidney and spent weeks orchestrating a plan to steal Caleb's, his only match in the village. Despite Joe's deception, Caleb remains in the dark about his true motives. Instead, Caleb directs his focus toward Jai Sharma, Chris Bisson, who appears to be capitalizing on Steph Milligan's downward spiral. Caleb's daughter, played by Georgia J., has been tormented by shame following the murder of her grandfather Anthony, compounded by the shocking revelation that he was, in fact, her biological father. With her mother Ruby, Beth accordingly, struggling to keep the family together, the burden falls on Caleb to navigate the storm without exposing their deadly secrets. Caleb's trying to guide Steph through this. They can't get her any kind of therapy. Will says she could end up telling the therapist everything. They're stuck between a rock and a hard place. However, Jai's curiosity puts Caleb on high alert. He's really wary of the fact that if he starts digging, then he might find something incriminating, Will says. The ramifications could extend far beyond the Milligan family, potentially implicating Kane, Chas, and Aaron Dingle, as well as John Subden, all of whom played a part in concealing Anthony's body. Jay's digging could absolutely blow it wide open, Will says. Caleb makes it clear to Steph she needs to stay away from him. But despite Caleb's best efforts, Steph's mental state continues to deteriorate. Isolating herself from her family, she finds solace in visiting Anthony's secret grave, where her grief soon turns into a desperate act. I don't think Caleb realizes how bad things have gotten, Will says. But they find her clawing away at the ground where he's buried. It's painful to watch. As Caleb and Ruby rush to intervene, another enemy lurks in the shadows, Joe Tate. Ruby attempts to brush Joe off, but her extreme reaction only makes him more suspicious. An even bigger shock awaits them. Steph makes them realize that there might not be anybody buried there. Will teases, "You'd need a mechanical digger, and John hasn't got access to one." John, Oliver Farnworth, a paramedic and family ally, played a key role in helping them cover up Anthony's death. He initially believed that his boyfriend Aaron, Danny Miller, had killed Anthony, only for the truth to later emerge that it was Ruby who had smothered Anthony to death after Aaron had beaten him into submission. Despite the turmoil surrounding Steph, Caleb's primary concern remains Joe Tate. At this point, Caleb thinks that Joe's saved his life, Will Ash says, but he wants to keep an eye on him, so he invites him round for dinner to scratch away at the surface and see what's going on. Joe, however, makes a critical mistake. As he leaves, he forgets his coat, along with a bottle of immunosuppressant pills inside. If you've had a kidney transplant, you need to take immunosuppressants for your immune system to accept the new kidney, Will says. When Joe returns to retrieve his coat, he encounters Steph at Mill Cottage, but Caleb intercepts him. As Joe fumbles, the pills spill out of his pocket, leaving Caleb with many questions. Caleb doesn't know what they are at the time, but he knows he's on medication. Will says something isn't right. Determined to find answers, Caleb hatches a plan, roping in Noah Dingle, Jack Downham. He rips one of the lights in his depot so he can get Noah to come round to fix it last minute. Will teases. He asks Noah about Joe because he knows they spend a lot of time together. What Noah reveals is enough to leave Caleb uneasy, but a chat with Noah's mother Charity, Emma Atkins, deepens his suspicions. She says she doesn't trust Joe. Will says, in that moment, Caleb doesn't think that the stabbing was anything suspicious, but he is thinking Joe is not to be trusted.